Hello everyone, Michael E. Parker here for another session here on YouTube. Do you ever have those days where you know you are doubting yourself and you're second guessing yourself and you're wondering if you can do it, if you can accomplish it, if you can become it? You're thinking about whether or not you are able to really achieve the things that are in your mind, the dreams, the hopes, and the beliefs that you have, and you feel like you're just not sure if you could really do it. You have these moments where you're always internalizing things and you're thinking about the reasons that you can't do something, the reasons you might fail, the reasons you might not accomplish that goal. Well, today we're going to talk about why you should stop doubting yourself. And this is to all of the success-minded people out there, all of the professionals, all the entrepreneurs. We have to stop doubting ourselves because this is very, very dangerous to our ultimate success and to the life that we want to live. Now, I want to really emphasize today that this is something that is a very great danger. This is something that should not be taken lightly. We have to really begin to focus in on this because it shows up every single day of our life in some way, especially when we're trying to achieve the greatest things. We're trying to arise to the greatest heights. It seems like that voice gets louder if we don't have something that begins to stop our ability to keep staying in this frame of mind. And so we're going to talk about this and basically, how the way you see yourself, the exact way you see yourself is destroying everything that you really want. That's really what we're talking about, because how I see myself is extremely important, because it is through that I see the world and that I see everything else around me. So I want to remind all of you, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure that you do that. Make sure that you like and comment, and please share this wonderful discussion with someone who you feel needs it. If there's anyone that you know out there that may need to hear this discussion about stopping to doubt themselves, which is probably everybody, make sure you go ahead and share while we're here now or while you're watching this. Give it to someone that you know, that you want to encourage to have, that something to overcome and achieve despite how sometimes they feel about themselves. So feel free to do that. But I want to tell you that, this is something that is very, very key. We all have those moments. I want you to think about that. There's times that you sincerely have these feelings of doubt. And I remember there was a period of time, I remember being in school, we had to read this poem or book kind of section of a book where it was called We Wear the Mask. And I never forget it because it was really about how we all wear a mask in life. There's a mask of confidence. There's a mask of, independence. There's a mask of, that I'm, successful. There's all these masks that we wear. And, after the cameras are off and the lights are down and after the crowd is gone, we still have to live with ourselves. We oftentimes find ourselves still at home thinking deeply about who we really are and what we can really be. And none of us are, most of the time happy about where we're at. We always want to be further. And there's a healthy side of that, right? We should be thinking about how we want to be further than we are today. We want to go further than we are now. We want to be more than we are today. We should always be trying to be progressive. But at the same time, while we, have these moments of feeling that way, we have these moments where we really begin to doubt what we're able to do. Now, I don't know how many of you have, been in a situation where you had to give a presentation, you had to talk to a particular person at work, you had to do something tough in a relationship, you had to, be called upon to maybe, do something, and you start to get those feelings of, I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure I'm good enough. I'm not sure that this time I'll be able to do what I've done before. And, this is something that impacts our ability to grow. And there's some of us that still been talking for a long time about things that we were going to do, but we doubt ourselves. We really doubt whether or not we can do certain things. And sometimes we don't give our all, because if we don't give our all, it gives us an excuse, that happened because I didn't give my all, right? But it's a different thing when you begin to try to not have as much doubt and begin to give your all to whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you really know that you're trying to strive to create that business business opportunity, if you're really trying to go to the next level in leadership in a particular area of your life, if you're trying to go further in your career, to really begin to pursue that and to strive for that in a way that is absent of that type of doubt. Now, to understand the power and the dangers of doubt, I want you to understand a word that oftentimes people who have spiritual beliefs use this word. And so I'm going to go to my whiteboard for a minute. Many of you have heard of this word, and that word is faith, right? And many times people have heard this word and associated with, things related to, belief in something. And this actually, if we define this, right, this is really belief in something I cannot see, for lack of a better term. I have belief in something that I can't see, so I take action as if I see it, right? That's what makes it faith. So this is truly a belief. It's a belief system. And as you look at this definition, right, I want you to understand something about doubt. That doubt actually has a similar definition. Now you can go, deeper in terms of faith and taking action on something that you believe in, even though you can't see how it's going to take place, how it's going to happen. But did you know doubt is also a belief system? And sometimes we don't realize that doubt is not just doubt. Doubt is a belief. You believe you can't do something based on what you can't see. So you haven't given that presentation yet. You've not failed in that business venture yet. You've not been able to accomplish that particular thing yet, but you doubt you can do it because of whatever has happened in the past. And so because of that, it becomes a belief system. And this is what I want, to really focus on here, is that this is truly a belief system. This is something that we can continually go down a path of doubting whether or not we can actually accomplish that thing. I can remember so many times in business being challenged to do something that was, more than I thought I would have to do. I remember even this pandemic when things began to, hit my businesses and things began to take place, and, there was, unprecedented challenges that began to rise up in many different areas. It's something when you have to make a choice of whether or not you're going to have faith or doubt, or you're going to believe, that you can win, or you're going to believe you're going to lose. There's so many different routes you can go when you start to sit and you start to contemplate and you start to reason. And so it's very important to understand that, doubt is actually a belief system, right? It's not something that just comes and goes. If you embrace it, it will become a system of belief that you begin to embody in your day-to-day life, and it will impact your ability to achieve things. So always remember that. It is not just a simple, small thing. It is impacting your ability to do your best. It is impacting your ability to strive for excellence. It is impacting your ability to actually arise to the level that you know inside is possible, right? But that doubt, just a little bit of doubt, right? Just a smidgen of doubt. You know how there's some seasonings that they're so strong when you are cooking a meal, if you just put a little bit of that seasoning, it can overwhelm, whatever you're cooking because it's such a dominant seasoning. It has so much potency. Well, doubt is that way as well. When you just put just a little bit of seasoning, just a half of a teaspoon, right, of doubt. And it can just ruin all of this belief and potential that you know that you had about doing that thing, but just a little bit of it. And this is why we have to be so careful. Now, let's go a little bit deeper into doubt here. Let's go back to my whiteboard here. And I want you to understand something a little bit about doubt. And one thing that we have to deal with is breaking promises to ourself. This is a big one, breaking promises to ourself. So when we break promises to ourself, something begins to happen. So as we keep doing that, right, breaking promises to ourselves eventually leads to This leads to a belief about ourselves. It also begins to lead to a lack of confidence in ourselves, right? A lack of trust in ourselves, right? So sometimes we don't think it's really serious, but when we set a personal goal and we have a promise, and if we always break that promise to ourselves, not anyone else, when you say, I'm gonna try to, be on time more, I'm gonna try to eat better, I'm gonna try to work out more consistently, and we keep breaking that promise to ourselves, because we're not loyal to our own promises to ourselves, a lot of times we start to doubt what we can do when something comes up, because we have become so accustomed and comfortable to breaking promises to ourselves, we feel we're probably going to break it again to them or for them or to that situation. So we have to take it seriously when we begin to have a promise that we internalize and we say that we're going to do something. How loyal are we to our own self, right? So it's very important to really see, when we talk about you versus you, that, I have to have something that I am striving to do. And sometimes I've got to keep that promise to myself for the sake of realizing that I can do the things that I promised to do. I can be dependable. So before I can ever be dependable to others, I first got to be dependable to myself, right? So this is a big problem. And what fuels doubt a lot of times is because there are too many times in situations when we break promises to ourselves. So I want you to really, keep that in mind, that, I have to take it seriously. The things that I'm planning to do, the things that I'm trying to do, to be more targeted and more, thorough and more complete when it comes to accomplishing things that we set out to do and goals that we set out to achieve, to not second guess. That's why sometimes we even are afraid to set certain goals, because we doubt ourselves, because we know maybe areas that we tend to come up short. So we have to start working on those things, right? And I'm not saying just overnight, because you're listening to this, it's going to go away. But what I'm saying is we have to be conscious of these promises that we make ourselves and try to be better at actually beginning to remove those things that actually, cause us to break our own promises. Very, very key. Now, another thing that I want to mention, that when you start breaking promises to yourself, it also starts to create a situation in which you always are afraid to promise anything. You're afraid to set that goal. You're afraid to say, I will do that. I will be there. I will make that happen. And even though you might say it in words, inside that doubt begins to enter in because of the promises that you've broken to yourself. Now, here's another thing this kind of brings us to. That is a big word, insecurity. So we think about insecurity. A lot of times, when you look at that insecurity, it's kind of interesting, right? Because it's almost like it should be called out security. And the reason is we're looking for outside validation, right? Outside validation that you can, do that thing or accomplish that thing. You need someone else to make you believe you can do it. Now, don't get me wrong. We all want some encouragement. We all want, people to believe in us. There's nothing wrong with that. But we have to be able to actually, trust that when we do we have to be comfortable with when we do our best, the outcome is okay, right? When I do my best, the outcome is okay. So we can become more secure in the fact that we know we're going to do our best because we're actually demanding that of ourselves. So sometimes you have to ask yourself, what are you demanding of yourself? What are you requesting of yourself? How much are you requiring of yourself to do everything you can do to actually accomplish that thing that you're trying to accomplish? This is so critical, right? Because if you are comfortable with mediocrity and with not asking yourself to do the best that you can, then those insecurities come in because you don't really feel for sure you could do it either. So you're looking for validation. Someone else make me believe that I can do it. Someone else make me believe I can win. Someone else make me believe it's possible. And we have to actually strive past that. Now, you know, all of this kind of goes back to something we talk about all the time. And you all, know we talk about this a lot in URCO, which is automatic negative thoughts. So these are the ants, if you will, that we're always fighting. And automatic negative thoughts, think about this, when you're striving to do something, when you're striving to press forward towards something, a lot of times your first thought is something and all the reasons why you can't accomplish that thing. So we have to make, first of all, to be prepared that we are wired to remember the things that are negative 10 times more than the things that are positive, because our brain is wired to protect ourselves, to be self-preserving, to take us away from pain, whatever that is, and move us toward pleasure. And sometimes to get where we need to go is not pleasurable. It takes work. It's not pleasure to go to the weight room sometime and lift those weights. It's not pleasurable to eat the right thing when you rather eat something else. It's not pleasurable sometimes to put the time in to learn a subject so you can be better at actually teaching someone else something that will help make their life better. It's not always pleasurable to take the time to actually begin to do what's required to build a business the right way, right? But when you begin to realize that your first thoughts is going to be those thoughts that are automatically negative, you can be more prepared for it. And then you begin to think about, how can I begin to fight those thoughts by really beginning to press past how I feel and starting to have confidence in myself. So what? Confidence is something, again, the word confidence has confide in it, right? So let's go, let's look at that here. Look at the word confidence, right? Confidence there, yeah. So in this word is confide, right? And we have to actually confide and make an agreement within that we can actually commit to doing the best that we can, right? And all too often, we're guilty of not doing the best that we can. We do things in a way that still has too much doubt involved, which causes us not to really take that extra step. And so when you have that confidence, because you have like an agreement within, you've confided within yourself, right? You've talked within yourself that I am going to try my hardest. I am going to give this my all. I do believe that I can accomplish this. And what happens is when you confide in yourself, right? First with yourself. A lot of times we're looking for other people to confide in, right? But confidence is someone who's confided in themselves, right? I've shared something with me that I actually believe is possible because I've actually made an agreement with myself to do what is required to actually reach that goal and to press past those thoughts of doubt. Doubt is not going to just disappear. You have to make it disappear. Doubt is not going to walk away. You have to make it walk away. It's a belief system. It's a thought pattern. But you can fight that thought pattern by having something you've already agreed to within. I'm already ready for the ants. I remember having a situation where some ants got in my home and they got into some cinnamon rolls back in the day when I was eating like that. Man, they got in this cinnamon roll drawer and was eating up these cinnamon rolls, and they got all over the house, all over the kitchen. My wife almost fainted and just said, I'm going upstairs. She couldn't handle it, so I was left down there, and it was the war of the ants. I was going in with I was spraying everything I could, Windex, Lysol. I didn't have the right bug killer, so I just started killing everything. Them ants was all going up the wall and going in the drawer, crawling over the floor, and brother, it makes me itch right now just kind of thinking about it, right? Did you know when you are thinking about starting that business, when you are thinking about growing in your career, when you are thinking about taking those new strides as a leader, when you're ready to step up your game and it's ready to go to the next level, those ants start to crawl and they start to give you all the reasons that you can't take that next step, all the reasons that you can't go that next mile, all the reasons that you're going to just keep talking about starting that business and not actually doing something about it, all those reasons that you can't and that you won't and that it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult, right? It's going to take too long and, I'm too far behind everyone else. I'm starting too late. I'm too old to do this now. All those ants, right? We have to stop listening to those ants. And we have to start taking strides to say, no, I have confided within myself. I've made an agreement within myself. I've made a promise to myself that it's not too late to succeed. I often like, many of you know the actor, what's his name? Samuel L. Jackson, I believe his name, Samuel L. Jackson. And some of you know him. And, I forget all the statistics on, it's some amazing statistics he has as an actor, like he's been in the most highest gross films and stuff and so forth. He started his career, like he got started in his late 40s. That was his start of his acting career. And look at, everything that has happened for him, right? That was the start. It's always encouraging to look at people like that. Like they started in their late 40s and then he blew up, right? So don't ever count yourself out. I don't care what age you are. I don't care where you're at. You have to stop looking for reasons to lose, right? Looking for reasons to lose, right? Creating reasons to lose. So we have to stop doing that to ourselves. It's a self-inflicted punishment that we give ourselves. And it's destroying everything that you really want, everything that you want to achieve, every dream you have, every goal you have. It's keeping you lethargic. It's keeping you stagnant. It's stopping you from moving because you don't realize you're still doubting, right? So stop believing. Let me put that on here. Stop believing you can't win. Now, some of y'all that know about The Wiz, I'm not going to go back there. I'm not about to start singing on here, but I'm hearing a song right now that says you can't win. You can't break even and you can't get out of the game. There's a lot of deep analogies in that movie. There's The Wizard of Oz and there's The Wiz, and The Wiz, has some wonderful musical compilations in it. It really was a musical masterpiece, but there's a lot of sub-stories within there. You remember the crows and the scarecrow that was on the pole and thought he couldn't come off because of how he was thinking. And he's singing this song and all the crows, those are the thoughts that you're always surrounding our mind. Remember to, reminding you to sing that song of why you can't win, right? Why you can't get out of the game, right? And you always are in this same game of getting excited and getting motivated, when you hear good things. And then when you get by yourself, it's just like a dripping water that starts to take you out of all that energy and you end up right back where you are and you don't do anything. Right? You end up right where you are, sitting down again, saying another year has went by, another month has went by, another opportunity has went by, another, situation has come and gone. Right? This is what we have to get out of. This is what we don't want. We have to break past that, right? By confiding within ourselves and having more there. Now, I want you to see these two balances here. So we want to find this balance, and maybe I'll draw me a scale here, and we have this scale here, and we don't want to be overconfident, right? And we also don't want to be over concerned, right? The issue here is the over, right? So we can be both confident and concerned, but when we're overconfident, it leads to destruction because you start to, we're not talking about, when I say don't have doubt, to just be, unreasonable and trying to do something like I can jump off a building, just believe me. I believe I can fly, right? No, you're going to die, right? Jumping off of a building. No, you don't want to be overconfident. Then you don't want to be over concerned though. So when you're over concerned, right? You're more, it's moved really from concern. See, over concern is the same as worry, right? So the whole point of concern has balance in it. There's nothing wrong with having some concern. I'm concerned about how I'm going to get it done. I'm thinking through the details. That's healthy. But when you have over concern, that leads to worry. So you have to actually begin to position yourself. And you might not think this. Some of you you're sharp enough to know that this really does affect you, and you already get it. You're with me. And some of you are deceived because you don't realize that you are impacted by this, and it's the reason a lot of times you have not taken any steps for towards where you need to go. So realizing that this is happening is really the first step. Now, I just want to leave you with a couple of things, is that we talk about inertia and versus momentum, right? And in both of these cases, something is staying the same unless there's an external force that causes something different. So when you think about inertia, an object at rest will stay at rest, right? So you'll notice there's, something is staying the same. With momentum, an object in motion will stay in motion. So both of these are dealing with something that stays the same, but one of these stays at rest, right? This is what we don't want. One of these is staying in motion. And to stay in motion, again, with both of these, if you finish the definition, an object at rest will stay at rest unless it's acted upon by an external force. An object in motion will stay in motion unless it's acted upon by an external force, right? So that external force is the thoughts we have. It's the way we think. It's the way we handle problems. It's the way we handle challenges and obstacles when they come up as we try to pursue our goals. So you won't take action unless you have an external force like we're talking right now. And listen, if you're listening right now, again, I want to remind you, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share this. Share it right now with some of the people that is in your network who need to hear this. Hit that share button right now and share it with somebody and tell them, stop doubting yourself. Have confidence in your next move. I challenge some of you to share that right now with groups and say, just put in the subject line, stop doubting yourself, have confidence in your next move, right? And tell them to listen to this, because there's someone that needs to hear this. And you actually have to, really begin to surround yourself with people who believe like this, right? Who think this way. And that's why I love, you hear me quote Dr. King all the time when he talked about, if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, go on out and sweep streets like Beethoven composed music, like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets so well that the living, the dead, or the unborn could not sweep streets any better. He went on to talk about if you couldn't be a pine on the top of the hill, just be a shrub in the valley, but be the best little shrub on the side of the reel. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it's not by size that you win or you fail. Be the best at whatever you are. That's the mindset of someone that's not doubting themselves. They have confidence in what they're able to do. Remember, pushing yourself. This is what we want to overcome. And I want to leave you with just a simple little acronym that you can remember. When you think about doubt, right? So doubt is destructive, only ugly belief time. So another way said, it's a time that I'm having destructive thoughts that are only ugly belief, and I'm spending time on it, right? Get out of doubt and move into confidence and build trust so that you can achieve the things that are critical to your success. I am Michael E. Parker, and I hope you enjoyed this session. Make sure, again, as I said, to subscribe, like, comment, and share this with as many people possible. Let everyone know that You Are a CEO is changing lives. We're helping entrepreneurs, we're helping professionals, and we're helping success-minded leaders who know it all starts with running the business of you. And once you do that, we can move into the business of everything else to create the wealth and wellness that we want. I hope all of you will be positively impacted by what you heard. Stop doubting and move forward in complete confidence that when you try your best, you can just give up the rest. I'll see you soon. Until next time.